Hi, I'm Raven McNabb. I'm a stellar agent with eXp Realty. Here today to talk to you about negotiations. What does negotiation mean in the home buying process and how it can help you be the best savvy, stellar home buyer possible in today's market. So if you haven't watched the other videos before this one, I definitely encourage you to stop. Go take a peek at those videos and then come back and watch this one because we're talking about three key factors today. We've talked about location, we've talked about financing. Today we're talking about negotiation. Let's go ahead and get started with that. So what does negotiations mean in real estate? Well, I'll tell you right now, real estate is a hard money investment. Everything is negotiable. That's the rule of thumb in real estate. Everything is negotiable in real estate. There's no set standard. There's nothing set in stone in terms of negotiations. So how can you make the home buying process smooth and easy for you and know what to negotiate? What are your options to negotiate? Well, again, everything is negotiable in real estate. But let's talk about scenarios and walk through potential scenario that, and then we can kind of go from there and follow. Arizona contract is kind of ideally what we're following here. And we'll, whoops. Okay. We're going to follow the Arizona contract and just give you some basis of negotiations from that point and help you be able to ask questions and know what your options are as far as negotiating goes and things to look at, what you can do in your own personal situation for negotiating a contract. So we talked about location, which is a third of the equation, right? It's not always about location when you're picking your home. Financing, we've talked about. Financing, so many different types of financing programs and options available to you. And it's super important to know what your options are, because if you don't know your options, you might be losing money and losing opportunities. Not all banks are created equal either. So keep in mind that not all mortgages are created equal and not all banks are created equal. You might be wanting to go to the bank that you bank with for the last 20 years. They might not be the best bank to obtain your financing with. Go ahead and watch the financing video to get more information on financing details. Negotiating, we can be the best at negotiating when we know all of our options on the table. I like to consider negotiations as a playbook in football. We write out the playbook. We write out our varying plays that we can do and put in any given situation. Every market is different and the real estate market is always cyclical, which means it can change. And it's not always going to be the same. It could be up, it could be down, it could be steady and at a plateau. It just depends. Not all neighborhoods are the same. Not all neighborhoods are created equal. Not all homes are created equal either. We do have very many situations where homes are unique properties, and negotiating based on that it can be varyingly different. But let's talk about a traditional home, single family residence, first time home buyer, things that you need to know and things that you can think about in terms of negotiations. Okay. So first things first, you find a home, you fall in love with it. It's priced too high. It's higher than your budget. Your pre-qualification that you got from your lender says you're only qualified for $300,000. The house that you fell in love with has everything that you're looking for is $320,000. It's $20,000 over budget. So what kinds of things can we do to maybe perhaps make our offer, your offer, more appealing? Well, number one is going to be your offer price, of course, right? But you can't offer $320. You can only offer $300. So we'll talk about some options from there. The next option would be your earnest deposit. Your earnest deposit is your good faith money. That's your skin in the game. Shows the seller how serious you are because you're putting up money that could potentially be lost in the event that you canceled this contract outside of protected contingencies within the contract. Now, keep in mind, we're also talking only about Arizona, and Arizona contract law can be very different compared to other state markets, city markets. So please bear in mind with that, that we're talking based on Arizona specifically. If you need assistance in any other market area outside of Arizona, please go ahead and send a comment or a direct message to me, a phone call or a text message, and I will get you in contact with one of our agents in the market area that you are seeking to purchase in so that they can guide you on that. Moving forward, Arizona contract. So we have offer price, we have earnest deposit. The next option can be your closing date, how soon, how far out you're willing to close on the home. And closing means when you're going to sign on that fine dotted line that you are now the new homeowner. When you have to have that money ready to go and sent off, and the seller now transitions and transfers title from them to you. That's closing. Closing is handled by the escrow company, typically. Next negotiation factor would be a home warranty. Whether you want to have a home warranty or not, who's paying for that home warranty, you or the seller? Okay. Another negotiation part would be seller concessions or contributions that you're asking for. And those are typically, that basically means that you're asking the seller or not for a percentage or a flat dollar amount towards your closing costs. Your closing costs consists of all of those third-party fees, property taxes, etc. Okay, that's in addition to your down payment that you will need to pay on your own. And these are things you'll talk to with both your seller agent, but also with your lender, your bank that's assisting you with the home mortgage process. So we have sales price, offer price, we have earnest deposit, we have home warranty, we have closing date, we have closing costs that we're trying to potentially negotiate. Some other options in there might include whether or not you're keeping appliances in the home. Typically, if an appliance is there when you toured the home, those are appliances that are conveying, they're staying in the home. But you have to be very careful because you have to write those in. Now, if you're trying to make your offer more appealing to the seller, maybe you don't want to ask for those. So that's why we say that's a negotiation factor there. Other negotiation factors might be your due diligence period. In Arizona, it's a 10-day set due diligence window or inspection period. Maybe you shorten that. Maybe you waive it. I don't recommend waiving them by any means because they're there and designed to protect you as the home buyer, but maybe in an event to get your offer accepted, you opt to do that. You chose to do that. You did your due diligence up front, perhaps, but that's also a good negotiation factor. There's a section in the Arizona contract that also is designed to add any additional terms and conditions. So maybe you want to add in there that you're flexible on your closing date. Maybe you want to add in there that you aren't asking for any repairs or anything like that from the seller, and any whatever it is, you can write in there and put additional negotiation terms on that section of the contract. So let's back up and go to offer price. For the scenario at hand, you find a home that you absolutely adore. It's priced for $320,000. You are only qualified by your lender for $300,000. So that now means you have a property that you fell in love with that costs $20,000 more than you currently have. So what can you do to negotiate and still be able to get into that home? You can't offer 320 because you don't have the extra 20,000 and the bank's not giving you that extra 20,000. So what kinds of things can you do? Number one, earnest deposit. Putting that earnest deposit in place, showing the seller that you're willing and super able to make this purchase happen. You're only offering them 300,000, but they want 320. It's a seller's market. They know that they can get 320, possibly even more. So why would they choose your offer at $20,000 less than what they're asking? Well, putting in more money as the earnest, showing them that you're serious, confident, and ready, willing, and able to make that purchase happen. Your earnest deposit can be all of your down payment. If you're going with FHA, your minimum down payment is a 3.5% down. That 3.5% down payment on a $300,000 home. Let's just do the math here. I'm not good at math in my head, but we'll go ahead and type that in. 300,000 times 3.5% is 10,500. I should know that because I do that quite often. Anyways, $10,500. Maybe you make that all your earnest deposit because you're serious about this home. You love this home. You want this home, but it's priced out of your budget and you want that seller to see that you really want that home. Put your full down payment in as an earnest deposit if that's the route you choose to do. Everything's negotiable in real estate. You can put as little or as much as you want. By putting in your full down payment, maybe that'll give the seller some indication that you are serious, okay? Another factor to consider would be your closing date. Seller has the home vacant. That means the seller probably doesn't want to sit on that home any longer. They're already living somewhere else. If that home has a mortgage on it, they're paying the mortgage on it, right? They're paying the mortgage on that home to sit there with nobody living in it, nobody buying it. So having it closed sooner rather than later is probably more appealing to that seller. Hands down, more appealing to that seller. So negotiating a closing date, the earliest possible date that you can make happen with your lender. Check with your lender, ask them what they can do. Some lenders can do it pretty darn quickly. Some lenders can take up to 30 to 45 days. It really depends on the loan program and the lender that you choose. If you need a reputable lender to help you and it can offer fast, quick closes, let me know. I can provide you some resources. So we have closing date. We also have the home warranty section. I encourage you to have a home warranty, especially if you're not handy, to make necessary repairs. Home warranty can be very helpful, especially in that first year of new home ownership, as it allows you to have vendors that are affiliated with the home warranty company to go out and make those repairs based on whatever work order claims that you file. So let's say, for example, the plumbing, you have a leaky toilet or a leaky faucet or the water heater blows. You don't know what to fix. Some of those can be costly. Water heaters can be in excess of $500. You don't have that money. And now you also have drywall repair and everything else with that included. That's a lot to do. So you have your home warranty there to cover the cost of the plumbing detail and get that water heater replaced or repaired, right? On the purchase contract, you can choose whether or not you want a home warranty. If you choose that you do, the next part is that you need to choose if you're going to pay for it in full or if the seller is going to pay for it. That home warranty then becomes part of the closing costs. So let's say, for example, you choose to pay for it. Can be up to, $600, $700, just depends. But let's say for the purpose of this, it's $600. Okay. So you have a $600 home warranty now in place and you're paying for it. Now we come down to closing costs section, the seller concessions. Are we asking the seller to pay your closing costs? My thought would be probably not, because you're trying to get your offer accepted, offering lower than the asking price in a fast-paced seller's market. Buyers, have to negotiate accordingly. So if you chose not to ask for any concessions, you would leave that blank. The next section would be a home inspection. So that's your 10-day and due diligence period here in the state of Arizona. Check with your market. Every state is different on that due diligence period. Here in Arizona, it's a 10-day minimum window. You can specify if you want to cut that out completely, or if you want to shorten it, minimize the inspection period there. So just keep in mind that that's part of a negotiation tool as well. Most sellers, they are cordial to making necessary repairs on the property, especially if it's substantial, or even if it's minimal, whatever it is. But that is a negotiation factor to help your negotiation make more sense to both the seller, but also you. And then the other terms and conditions that we have there on the Arizona contract, we can write in whatever it is. Maybe it's we don't need appliances. Maybe you're going to write in the offer that you accept the property 100% as is, and you're not going to ask the seller for any repairs. Letting the seller know up front what you're seeking to do, what you're seeking to ask for, so that they have an upfront expectation of what your offer means to them in comparison to others that might be on the table, is all about how to optimize your negotiation skills with that particular offer on a property that's priced higher than your budget and you're offering them less. Okay, so negotiation is super important. There's so many different things that you can negotiate in your favor, into the seller's favor, into a mutual party favor, whatever the situation might be. Having a great negotiator working for you, it really opens up a lot more potential opportunities and homes and neighborhoods, right? Like, for example, the scenario we just gave, $320,000 home in this fabulous neighborhood that you absolutely love and adore and have always dreamt about living, but never thought you could obtain. Well, you're only qualified for $300,000. What kinds of things can we negotiate in that contract to make your offer more appealing to the seller, to get the seller to be willing to accept your offer and move forward with you? Well, it could be your earnest deposit. It could be whether you're asking for a home warranty or not. The home has an HOA, for example. Are you asking the seller to pay for any HOA fees that the seller wouldn't otherwise be responsible for paying? Are you asking the seller to cover your home warranty? Are you asking for them to pay anything towards your closing costs? Are you asking to have drapes and other things and appliances that you saw in the home? Do you want those to stay included? I always tell my buyers this. Yes, it looks great that it's in the home. You see what it looks like. You don't always need to do that. Or have that. You might be able to go and buy it at Best Buy yourself, if it's like a surround sound, for example. If it's these fancy blinds, blinds typically are supposed to stay per the contract, but sometimes it's a matter of if the seller wants to keep something, maybe it has sentimental value, but you really like it. Well, what are you going to do to still have that item in the home? I always tell my buyers, look beyond those kinds of things, because your ultimate goal is to get your offer accepted. You love that home. You want that home. What are we going to do about it? Well, you need to have strong set negotiation skills. We need to be able to get that home for you and have it make sense for you, but we also need to have it make sense for the seller. We need that home and offer to make sense for all parties so that you can get into your dream home. Having a negotiator, a stellar agent working for you with their intimate knowledge of the current market that you're in, with their intimate knowledge, ample knowledge of resources and opportunities, having the knowledge of what kind of financing you have in place, all are super, super important to be able to have a clean, clear playbook in front of you with that particular offer in place, that particular home that you're seeking. You fall in love with the home and it's out of your budget. Well, let's talk about some other things that we can negotiate to have it make sense for you, but also the seller. Negotiations can be so much more. If you want something, always ask. Maybe you'll receive, right? You won't know if you don't ask. You won't know if you're not open to asking for the opportunity. Opportunities do not always just present themselves to people who don't ask for it or work for it. So I encourage you to always be open to the opportunity. Ask for the things that you really care about and want and feel passionate about and make it happen. Also, have a stellar agent in your corner to assist you in that process, because some things that they know are things that you may not know and be able to relay, and they can help you put it into a solid, formal play to make it happen. If you have any questions about negotiations, or you're seeking to purchase a home today in the current market that you're in, feel free to call me 480-300-1222. You can also visit my website at www.ravenco.com, and all of my contact information is there. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions that you have on any property. If you need to have a stellar agent working for you in a different state other than Arizona, please let me know, because we do have stellar agents all across the nation that work for you. So definitely reach out to me. Feel free to comment, like, and subscribe below, and we'll be in touch. Have a good day.